number of Premier League clubs have reserved the right to sue and seek compensation against Manchester City should they lose their legal battle against the Premier League, which we're expected to see results from at the end of 2024. The Times has detailed a full article that claimed a number of Premier League clubs have reserved the right to seek compensation against Manchester City over the 115 alleged rule breaches before a deadline on Tuesday. That is Tuesday just passed. The action has been advised by lawyers even before the outcome of the case is there, as a potential 6-year status of limitation period, which dates back to November the 5th, 2018, when a German website first published the Football League's documents. If the serious charges against Manchester City are found proven, the clubs could claim for losses of income for missing out on the league title and European competitions over the course of several years, which could total hundreds of millions of pounds. Clubs cannot sue each other through the courts under the Premier League rules, but they can through arbitration under Rule X. So you're not technically they're not suing each other, but they can do it via arbitration in these particular circumstances. And of course, look, City maintain their innocence. They believe that they have broken none of the rules that they have alleged to have breached. We know that around 30 to 40 of those 115 charges of a non-cooperation. So, of course, if they're found guilty of all of them, that will not impact this side of the proceedings. The article also goes on to say that lawyers are understood to have advised clubs that if they wait until the outcome of the hearing of the 115 alleged rule breaches, there would be a risk of any compensation claim to be deemed out of time. And the 1980 Limitations Act sets a 6-year limitation period for legal claims for the breaches of contract in the UK, but allow for exceptions where the breaches have been concealed. So it's a really interesting turn of events. A number of clubs yet to be revealed who they are, but it's speculated anybody that's been in major European games, anybody that they pipped to major European places, anybody that they beat in finals, anybody they tipped to league titles. So you can imagine in that period, the likes of Arsenal, the likes of Manchester United, Chelsea, Tottenham, definitely Liverpool, may seek different claims against them. And this is the fear factor for Manchester City. And I understand that they believe they are innocent. They are maintaining their innocence. And if they are indeed innocent, nobody more so than me will call that out. The City fans angry at this content won't listen to that part, but it's the facts of the matter. What's also a fact is that clubs clearly have a feeling, clearly have a belief that what they have done is wrong. That is why they have filed ahead of time to be able to sue and seek compensation. And this is where this case can become potentially damaging in the long term for Manchester City, because should they be found guilty of the majority of the severe cases, should that allegation be proven, not only could they risk huge fines from the Premier League, big points deductions, relegation from the Premier League, and potential assets being stripped, there is a big likelihood that their sponsors, some of their sponsors may want to step away, as an example. Plus, if multiple Premier League and maybe European clubs file lawsuits against them, or they activate the lawsuits they've now applied for against them, there could be hundreds of millions of more pounds taken from the football club, which theoretically could put them at risk of bankruptcy. Now, of course, the ownership may have an opportunity to pay some of that. Some people say that, it's a drop in the ocean to their finances, which I do understand, but it certainly isn't a good look when it comes to Manchester City and how they operate. Remember, owners are limited to how much they can pump into the club. So even if it's the owner's worth 500 billion, if the entity being sued is Manchester City, they can't just pay that all via their owners pumping money in, not according to the rules as I've interpreted them. However, if you know more than me, if somebody's given a difference of opinion on that, please send it through to me. I always want to be educated on these matters. Said for a long time, though, with this court case, look, this is off the field wise, this is the biggest piece of news. It could change the course of history in the Premier League, and not just change the course of history in the future. It rewrites. If City are guilty of what they have been alleged to have done, over a decade of football gets rewritten. With the snap of somebody's fingers, the last decade of football gets rewritten. Some City fans will say, no, it won't. We lived it. We won it. You'll never take those memories away from me. And I understand that from a City fan's perspective. But if you're a Liverpool fan who missed out narrowly on 2 or 3 occasions, if you're an Arsenal fan who's missed out narrowly, Man United comes second, I think, twice in these periods we're looking at, or just after these periods where this sort of alleged corruption took place. Imagine how different the world would look now when it comes to the legacy of Jose, the legacy of Klopp, the legacy of X, Y, and Z. To those fan bases, to those managers, to those clubs, history will change. It's going to be an intriguing outcome. Nobody has any idea whose direction this is going in behind the scenes. So if anybody claims to know, I think we've seen a few stories come out that City are in trouble. A few come out saying the Premier League know they're losing. I think that's all absolute nonsense. I don't think anybody knows what's going on behind the scenes. We will eventually get answers. But what has been confirmed today, a number of major football teams have filed the lawsuits ahead of time to go through arbitration and potentially sue Manchester City, for hundreds of millions of pounds should they be found guilty of these alleged breaches. In separate news that also surrounds Manchester City, the Premier League has issued a proposal to amendments to its rules that could open the door for significantly more lucrative sponsorship deals for its clubs. In what amounts to a significant development between Manchester City and the Premier League, rules around the related party deals would be significantly looser if the amendments are voted in later this month. The Premier League has detailed proposed rule changes on associated party transactions in a 14-page document seen by the Times that has been circulated to clubs before a meeting in London on November the 22nd. The focus is on 3 key areas of the rules. City argue that all the rules should now be considered void following the findings of an independent tribunal that concluded last month certain elements of the rules were unlawful. And I don't think City are going to get their way completely. I don't think they're going to get their way that the associated party rules won't stand in some way, shape, or form. I've read the tribunal, and they've said that the majority of the rule was fine, and that essentially they understand and advocate for those rules being in place. There's elements of it that were unlawful, which the Premier League is now working on changing. However, according to the Times, in their article that's come out today, those rules would still allow the Manchester Cities, the Newcastles, the Manchester Uniteds of this world, any team essentially, to get sponsorship deals from associated parties to their owners that are significantly more lucrative than they are today. And it still needs to be voted in. So 14 clubs, the majority still need to vote it in. And I'm intrigued to see who votes it in and who doesn't. That's going to be I think it gives an indication of the owners, if I'm being honest with you. I think it gives an indication around the owners and what they're prepared to push in. Now, if the Glazers were still fully in control of the football element of Man United, I'd be kind of worried, if I'm being honest. I have a feeling that Ineos will look to push this through. Ineos are a hugely wealthy organization who have a lot of associated parties who I would like to see sponsor Man United. I think could pump easily an extra 100 to 150 million pound a year into the club, helps to reduce the debts, helps to spend more money. Which ironically, we've already spent a lot, but because of the bad expenditure over the past 11 years, it's left Man United in a situation where we're sailing very close to the sun in terms of the FFP breaches. So for me, I'm not against this. I'm still think there needs to be checks and balances, which it appears there will be, but it enables owners to pump more money into the clubs. A lot of people think I'm against that. That isn't the case whatsoever. All I believe in, there has to be checks and balances, and clubs can't be put at risk by overinvestment by owners who can then just pull it away whenever they feel like it and leave a club in a destitute situation. As long as those protections remain in place, I'm all for it. I have nothing against it. Never had a problem with the money owners have spent. Go back through the last 7-8 years of my content. You won't see me complain about it. That doesn't mean, though, I don't think checks and balances should be in place. As ever, though, people, I want your thoughts, want your feelings, want your opinions on this. Clubs suing Manchester City. Why? Do they believe they're guilty? Are they chancing their arm? Are they doing it as a precaution? Or do they have inside information that they feel they're going to win this? And when it comes to the associated party transactions, the loosening of these rules, good, bad, or indifferent, how do you feel about it in terms of its impact upon the Premier League? As ever, please hit the like button. Make sure you are subscribing. And to anybody getting angry in the comment sections that maybe didn't get to the end, I've said innocent until proven guilty for City. I've stated if they're found not guilty, I will back, generally speaking, I'll back that decision because they're going to have to prove themselves, and they will in that case. I think equally, yes, clubs are filing to sue against them. It does not mean they're guilty at this particular moment. I thought I'd reiterate that at the end for anybody that's got angry. You can just timestamp them the last minute of this video so they can see it in case they missed it. Until next time, take care, goodbye, God bless, and we will see you all again very, very soon. Peace.